All right, so virtual interviews, right? They're becoming more and more common these days.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like everyone's using them now.
It's almost like the playing field has been leveled in a way because now everybody has to deal with the same weird quirks of video calls and, hoping your technology doesn't fail in the middle of trying to answer a really important question.
Oh, absolutely. Tech worries are real. I think we've all been there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So today we're going to dive into this YouTube video, and it's from a channel called Career and basically they claim to have this ultimate guide to acing any online interview.
Sounds promising.
Mm.
I'm curious to see what they have to say.
Yeah, me too. And they say it doesn't matter what platform you're using, Skype, Zoom, you name it, even those one-way Hirevue interviews.
Yeah, no, those are something else.
So the video actually jumps right into common interview questions, which I kind of appreciate, no time wasted, right?
Straight to the point. It makes sense people probably want those practical tips right away.
Exactly. Okay, so first up, of course, is the dreaded, tell me about yourself. I feel like everyone stumbles on this one, at least a little bit.
Yeah, it's tricky because it seems so open-ended. Like, where do you even begin?
Right, and you don't want to just recite your resume. They've already seen that.
Exactly. They want to hear something engaging, something that makes you stand out.
So the video recommends using something they call the SEAT method. Have you ever heard of that?
I have, yeah. It's a good way to structure your answer and make sure you hit all the key points.
Okay, so SEAT stands for skills, education and experience, achievements, and types of person. It sounds a little, I don't know, formulaic, maybe.
Yeah, it could be a bit robotic if you stick to it too rigidly.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It's more of a guideline than like a script,
Right, like a jumping off point.
Exactly. You definitely want to personalize it and make it your own.
Okay, so personalize the SEAT method. Got it. Okay, so moving on to another classic interview question. Why are you interested in this position?
Another one that seems deceptively simple. Right?
Yeah, but it can be tricky because, I don't know, it's easy to fall into generic answers, right?
Totally. Like, oh, I want to work here because it's a great company.
Right. Or I'm really passionate about this field, but everyone says that, right?
Exactly. They want to know what specifically excites you about this role at this company.
So what's the video say? What do they recommend?
Well, they actually recommend mentioning something specific that you admire about the company's work, like, a recent project or initiative.
Oh, interesting. They even give an example like, I've been following your work, and the impact you're making in industry is really inspiring. A little cheesy. I don't know.
It depends how you deliver it. I mean, it's good to show you've done your research, but...
Right, but you don't want to sound like you're just reciting their website.
Exactly. You have to actually mean it.
Okay, so how do you strike that balance?
Think about what genuinely excites you about their work. Did they launch a cool product? Have they tackled a problem you really care about?
Okay, so genuine enthusiasm is key. Got it. Now let's talk about another one that always trips me up. What are your strengths? How do you answer this without sounding like you're bragging?
Ah, yes, the classic strengths question. It's definitely a balancing act.
You want to highlight your skills, but you don't want to come across as arrogant.
Right. Humility is important, but you also don't want to undersell yourself.
So what's the sweet spot?
Well, the video suggests focusing on skills that are relevant to the job description.
Makes sense. So things like teamwork, problem solving, communication, those kinds of things.
Exactly. Those are valuable in almost any role. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Don't just list them. You have to back them up with evidence.
Evidence? Like what?
Like specific examples of times when you've demonstrated those strengths.
Oh, okay, I see. So instead of just saying, I'm a great communicator, you'd say something like,
in my previous role, I had to present a complex project to a group of stakeholders. I made sure to tailor my communication style to each person, and I was able to clearly convey the information and get everyone on board.
oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense.
It's about showing, not just telling.
Okay, I love that. Show, don't tell. Now, for the flip side of that coin, the dreaded, what is your greatest weakness?
Oh yeah, that one. Always a bit of a minefield, right?
It feels like a trap. What are they really looking for here?
Honestly, they want to see how self-aware you are.
Self-aware. Okay, so it's not really about confessing your deepest, darkest flaw.
No, not at all. It's about showing that you recognize areas where you can grow, and even better, that you're actively working on them.
Oh, I see. So it's about turning a negative into a positive.
Exactly. So the video actually gives a pretty good example of how to do this.
Oh, yeah. Let's hear it. What do they say?
Well, they say you could try something like, my greatest weakness is that I can be a bit impatient. I like to work quickly, and I sometimes expect others to do the same. But I've been working on developing my patience and learning how to better support my team members who work at a different pace. Something like that.
Okay, that makes sense. So acknowledge the weakness, but then immediately talk about how you're addressing it.
Exactly. It shows that you're committed to self-improvement.
And that you're not just giving some canned response.
Right. Authenticity is key.
Yeah.
Always.
Okay, so we've talked about some common interview questions, but there's a whole other layer to this, right? Because it's virtual, it's not like walking into an office.
Absolutely. The virtual environment presents its own unique set of challenges and opportunities.
Yeah, for sure. And this video actually gets into some specific tips for, like, acing your virtual interview. So beyond just the questions themselves, what do they recommend?
Well, first and foremost, they emphasize the importance of, well, technology.
Oh, of course. Tech issues, the bane of our existence these days.
It's so easily overlooked, though. You get caught up in prepping your answers, and then suddenly your microphone decides to stop working.
Oh, I've been there. It's the worst. So their first tip is test your technology beforehand, which, duh, right?
Seems obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people forget.
Yeah, I guess in the heat of the moment, anything can slip your mind.
Exactly. So double check that your internet connection is stable, your microphone is working, your camera's at a good angle.
Yeah, the camera angle, that's a good one. Nobody wants to be looking up your nose the whole time.
Exactly. And, if you can, try to do a practice run with a friend using the same platform the interview will be on.
Oh, that's a good idea, just to work out any kinks.
Precisely. Now, tip number 2 is all about your surroundings. They call it creating a professional environment.
Okay, so this is where I might need some help. My home office is a work in progress, let's say.
We've all been there. But it's worth putting in a little effort to tidy up, maybe put away that pile of laundry in the background.
Okay, good point. A little decluttering can't hurt.
Think of it this way. Your background is like a visual representation of you. A clean, organized space conveys professionalism and helps you stay focused.
Okay, that makes sense. So no distracting posters or like stacks of dirty dishes in the background. Got it.
Exactly. All right, moving on to tip number 3. And this one is interesting because I feel like it's something people have different opinions on. They say, dress for success.
Dress for success. But it's a virtual interview. I'm literally just sitting in my house.
I know, right? It's tempting to just roll out of bed and jump on the call in your pajamas.
Exactly. So is it really that important to dress up if you're just on camera from the waist up?
Well, studies have actually shown that dressing up, even if you're not meeting in person, can boost your confidence and make you feel more professional.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, it's like a mental trick. When you dress the part, you feel the part.
So maybe it's worth putting on a nice shirt, at least. Even if I'm wearing sweatpants on the bottom.
Hey, whatever works. It's all about finding what makes you feel confident and prepared.
Okay, so dress for success, even virtually. Got it. What's next on the list?
This one is crucial, and it can be tricky to master in a virtual setting. They say, maintain eye contact.
Oh, man, that's a tough one. I'm always so self-conscious about where I'm looking on the screen.
It's so easy to get distracted by your own image or to start looking at the interviewer's face on the screen instead of the camera.
Yes, that's exactly what I do. But I guess that makes you look like you're not paying attention.
Exactly. Eye contact is just as important virtually as it is in person. It conveys engagement, interest, and confidence.
Okay, so how do you do it right? Like, any tips for making sure you're looking in the right place?
One trick is to try to position your camera at eye level so you're not constantly looking up or down.
Oh, that's a good idea. I usually just have my laptop on my desk and I'm like staring down at it the whole time.
Yeah, that could be a bit awkward. Maybe try propping it up on some books or something.
Okay, I like it. Simple but effective.
Exactly. All right, moving on to tip number 5. Do your research.
Research the company. Okay, well, that's interview prep 101, isn't it?
It is, but you'd be surprised how many people skip this step. Or maybe they just do a quick Google search and call it a day.
So what kind of research are we talking about here? Like, beyond just reading their website?
Exactly. It's about going deeper. Dig into their recent projects, their company culture, their competitors. Think about what questions you could ask that show you've really done your homework.
Okay, so it's about showing that you're genuinely interested, not just going through the motions.
Exactly.
So research. Got it. What else did they cover in this video? We've gone through a lot of tips.
Well, they wrapped up with a couple more essentials. And this next one's a big one. They say, have questions ready for the interviewer.
Oh, yeah, I've always heard that. But sometimes it's hard to think of questions on the spot, you know?
Right. Especially when you're nervous.
Yeah.
But it's so important to have a few questions in your back pocket. It shows you're curious, you're engaged.
Okay, so what kind of questions should we be asking?
Well, the video suggests asking about things you genuinely want to know, of course, but also using your questions as an opportunity to highlight your research.
Oh, interesting. So, like, instead of asking a generic question like, what's the company culture like? You could say something more specific.
Exactly. You could say something like, I read about your new initiative to improve sustainability. How has that been received by the team? Something like that shows that you've done your homework and that you're thinking critically.
Okay, I like it. Asking smart questions. Got it.
And last but not least, they emphasize the importance of sending a thank you note.
Oh, right, the thank you note. But does anyone even read those anymore?
You'd be surprised. In a sea of applicants, a well-written thank you note can really make you stand out.
Really? Okay, so don't skip the thank you note. Got it. Wow, this video was packed with useful information.
It really was. We covered a lot of ground today.
We did, from like classic interview questions to all those little nuances of the virtual world.
It's a whole different ballgame these days, that's for sure. But with the right preparation, anyone can ace their virtual interview.
Exactly. It's not just about surviving the interview, it's about shining in that virtual spotlight. So, to all our listeners out there who are prepping for their next big interview, remember, confidence, preparation, and maybe a few sticky notes strategically placed around your computer screen.
And don't forget to test your microphone.
Oh, yes. The most important tip of all. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
It was a pleasure being here.
And good luck with those interviews. Until next time.